Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hello, welcome. All right, so I know some of you are getting settled and sitting down, but just quick question. So how many of you feel like you reach out or have done this recently, like reach out for spiritual guidance in some way, shape, or form, and you either feel like it doesn't come or you feel like you can't fully trust what you get? Anybody? Yeah. Okay. We've been there too. It's only shy. Okay. So this is usually the moment where a lot of people think like something must be wrong with me. Either like I'm missing something, I'm not intuitive enough, I don't have clair abilities, or I'm not connecting properly.
But what we've found is that it is almost never that you aren't getting the information. It's almost always that the information's coming in, you just aren't aware of the guidance that's being shown to you.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to teach you how to understand it better today.
Yes. All right, so for those of you who aren't familiar with us, I'm Andrea Underwood. I'm a professional spirit council medium and shadow alchemist.
And I'm Lindsey Hume, and I'm a professional energy interpreter and shadow alchemist.
And today we just want to share a part of our world with you in the hopes that when you leave here today, you're going to feel more connected to your spirit council, at least aware of them, and how you can start building and developing that relationship with them.
Yeah, and stay tuned for the end because we're going to walk you through a quick guided meditation that's going to help you sense them, feel them, and hopefully get a message today. All right?
Yeah, this is not going to be a super floaty love and light talk. It's going to be real life guidance. We're going to be giving you guidance on how this is going to apply to your everyday life, whether it's your relationships or decisions that you're making throughout your day or your beliefs and your habits.
Right. All right, so let's dive in. So we refer to this as your spirit council. Some people may refer to it as your spirit team, but basically what we're talking about is your spirit council. It's a group of beings that your soul contracted to have with you throughout your lifetime. They come in with you at birth, they leave with you at death, and essentially they were strategically picked by you before you came here to best support you and align with your soul contract. Align with what you're meant to do in this lifetime and help you get there. So what exactly do they do for you? They help you stay aligned with your life purpose, your soul contract, and the destination that you're meant to reach in this life. They support your soul growth. They highlight things that you miss. So if you ever you're like, I pass this same billboard every single day and I never really noticed it, and one day it just pops and you're like, something about that is just speaking to me. That's usually your spirit council. They're like, you need this. They orchestrate timing for you. So when you're like, I just want a relationship, and then it takes forever, but then the right person comes at the right time and you're like, oh, now I get it, I was waiting for them. So they help with orchestrating that. They help close out karmic cycles, so when something's ready to be done, they help close those loops and help you move on to a next cycle. And they nudge you or make it known when you are out of alignment. So giving you big wake-up calls and things that are going to help you understand oh, maybe this is not meant for me anymore, I need to go this way. So if you have ever had a time where you feel like everything in your life kind of fell apart and in that moment you were like, oh my God, what's happening? But then afterwards you could see in hindsight that it was actually the best thing for you. How many of you have had this happen at some point in time? Yeah, that's usually your spirit council helping you get on the right track.
Yeah, they definitely played a part in every step of that. And so when we're talking about our spirit council, as Lindsey was saying, it's a collective group of higher consciousness that is in your spirit council. And so it's good to know what is your spirit council made up of. So your spirit council that you've contracted always has God or source. It's your soul and your higher self is also equally a part of this group. You have the ascended masters, you have the archangels, you have your spirit or your angel guides. A lot of people call those their guardian angels. And you have your spirit guides. Okay, everyone usually has 1 to 2 spirit guides. Sometimes they'll have more depending on what your soul's really here to do in this lifetime. And then you also have those that have crossed over. You have ancestors, and you can even have star family or soul family who makes up your spirit council. And the reason why it's so important to communicate with your spirit council is because they literally are your roadmap. So many times I've heard in my life where people say, oh, well, you don't come into life with an instruction manual. And the truth is, actually, quite to the contrary, you actually do. And not only do you have like a roadmap, which is the contract that you created for yourself before coming in, you have an entire team who is very seasoned in the know-how, what your contract is made up of. They're also some of your biggest confidants, your best friends. It may not seem like it in this waking time, but on a soul level, you're very close to these beings, and they work hand in hand with you. They will never judge you. They never look at what is she doing? They don't ever do that. They're just like, oh, okay, hey, over here, come this way. So they're always in your corner. They're always rooting for you, and they're always working to show you the best route for you to take, or the things that are going to help you grow and achieve. And honestly, too, they always tell the truth. They will always tell you the truth, even if it's something that you don't want to hear, but you'll know, damn, I really need to go that way. So, and most importantly, really why we want to learn and build that relationship with them and how they are going to communicate with us, or why you should communicate with them, is because the more that you practice identifying where they're showing up in your life every single day and communicating with you and giving you messages, the easier it's going to be for you to know when they are communicating with you and how that can benefit you the most through your day-to-day.
Right. And here's the thing, they are communicating with you or attempting to communicate with you all the time, all the time. Since you got here to this planet and until you leave, they are trying to communicate with you. So the thing is that most people think it only comes in certain ways. So you think well, I have to be a medium, I have to be super intuitive in order to receive messages from my spirit council. I know when I started out my journey, I was desperately trying to connect with my council, and I was really trying to see them and hear them, like I saw mediums on TV doing. And I didn't realize at the time that spirit communicates you through all different types of modalities, and they are trying to connect with the ones that you're going to recognize. So when you're so focused on getting it one way, you're definitely going to miss some other opportunities. A lot of you probably are familiar with synchronicities. Okay. I don't have to explain that. They'll come through synchronicities. They'll come through sudden clarity, where all of a sudden something just makes sense, or perspective shifts, and you're like, oh, now I get it. They'll come through with a returning thought, so you're like, I really, really feel like I need to go and just put myself out there, look for a new job. And I don't know why, but it turns out it's the best thing possible. So it's those recurring things. I really feel like I need to do this. They'll show up through, this one might not be as obvious, but this is a big one, through repeating conflicts or emotional triggers. So if you constantly get in the same relationships where you're I'm always feeling unheard, they're trying to show you, hey, there's something that needs to change within you so that you experience feeling heard, and that's going to reflect in your external reality once you address it. So they're trying to redirect you. They may delay or reroute your plans, which happens often, when you get stuck in traffic and then you end up showing up to you're arriving at a party or something and you're like, I'm late, but it was the perfect time for you to walk in.
You missed that accident on the highway or whatever it is, yeah.
Or just your life plans where you were going to go to college and then something happened, so they will reroute your plans. So that's another way that they communicate with you. And then some of the most everyday means are through music. So a song might come on the radio, or a song might be playing in your head. I've had songs play in my head for an entire week, and I'm like, I know you're trying to tell me something. I'm just busy. I'll address it later. And I finally sit down, I look up the lyrics to the song, and I'm like, oh my God, that's the answer to what I was asking about. So sometimes kids will just spout out things. I know when when our kids were little, they would spout out things that just seemed like they came from nowhere. And I'm like, wait a minute, you have a message. Sometimes strangers will come up to you and just say something, and you're like, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Animals showing up multiple times. We're driving, we're like, oh my God, I saw a fox today. Wait, I saw a fox the other day. Okay, what's the spiritual symbolism of a fox? And then sometimes even the movies and social media. So sometimes you open an app and it's the reel or TikTok pops up and it's like, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed to hear. at that moment. So they're going to come through all those ways. And then one of the bigger ones that most people don't realize is through the body. So body sensations. Now, I'm very clairsentient, which is clear feeling in the body. And sometimes I will get messages through, like, I'll be around somebody and I'll feel like a sudden foot pain. And it either means that, like, I've come to know that either this is telling me something about, like, the person around me or myself has, like, fear of stepping forward into something, or they may have a physical pain. So they can come through with, like, illnesses. Sometimes you'll end up getting sick, and it turns out that you just really needed to slow down. And afterwards, you're like, you know what, I was going too hard. So through the body, that's another way that they communicate with you.
It's also a really good idea to look and say, because we all have our higher senses, right? We have our physical senses, and then we have our higher senses. And those are your clair abilities. And it's really good to figure out which ones are most natural for you. Which ones do you feel like you see visions more? Do you feel deeply emotional? Do you feel physical symptoms in your body? Like you could walk into a crowded room and your head might start hurting, or whatever that may be. Because that's you connecting with a higher frequency, a higher energy. And so that is probably one of the most prominent ways that these messages are going to come through for you, along with, especially if we're ignoring it, it's definitely going to show up in your physical. But that's just one of those ways. But another way to easily identify when spirit or your spirit council is communicating with you, or how to identify that, is to look at, again, your intuition, right? So what we're getting our intuitive hits and feelings on versus your ego, which we have to have our ego. Our ego is good because it helps keep us safe, but it really has no boundaries. It's kind of like that annoying roommate in your head. So, so when your counsel's like coming through for messages with you, even if you're in a stressful situation, if you're in an elated situation, it's still going to be very calm and direct and grounded. Like, you need to do this, right? So you're like, and a lot of times we're like, oh no, I don't want to do that, right? But that's when they're coming through, and it's going to be very clear to you. And another good indication, you always want to pay attention to your body, is the way that you feel when these messages come through. You might start to feel kind of like an expansive feeling, or like, yes, I need to move in that direction. And that is because your body can physically pick up the energy of spirit or your spirit council and those messages far before your brain will even pick it up. Okay? So that's why we get goosebumps. That's why the hair will stand up on the back of our neck, that kind of thing. All right? So you always want to pay attention to your body.
Has anybody ever had that kind of experience where you just hear clear information that comes through, or feel it, or where you just listen to it? I've heard people who, I think you had an experience where, like with driving, where it was like pull over and there was nothing around it, right? And so that's the difference. It's like, it's just there versus anxiety being like, something's going to happen, and you get tense.
Right, because that would be your ego. So when your ego steps in again, it's like, I got this, I'm going to keep you safe. Mm-hmm. It will play every worst case scenario in your head to give you, like, there are 1,000 options of that could go wrong, and I'm going to play this out for you. Or it's like, what are you doing? We need to run. You need to get out of here. Like, it's always going to be chaotic or pressing. It could be anxious feeling. It could be the sense of trying to control the situation or trying to dominate your space. You'll feel in your body, it's going to be more of a constricted feeling, and that's actually your aura shrinking up around you to protect you and keep you safe. So again, using that body, it's like, do I feel defensive and shrunk in and anxious right now, or do I feel expansive and like, okay, I got the clarity I need? Because that's going to be another way to help you identify if that's messages coming through for you.
Yeah, and this is something that you want to play with, you want to practice with, because there are times that I'm sure all of you have had this experience where, like, you're leaving the house and you hear or you feel, or you're like, maybe I should bring an umbrella, but it's not supposed to rain. And then you get in the car and you're driving and it starts downpouring. Things like that where you're like, I should have listened. So it's not wrong, but you're basically in training. So you're realizing at that time, okay, like, go back and look at, what did I feel? What did I hear? What did I sense? And that's going to be the way that you start to look for more cues from your spirit council, that they are communicating with you and trying to help you along. Sometimes it just pops in as an idea. But we start to learn, the more you practice this, okay, I need to listen to that voice, versus sometimes it's more anxiety and you follow it and you're like, I didn't need the umbrella. That must have, and you know what? I was a little stressed. I was a little worried. So that's where you're going to feel the difference. And practicing it is going to help you really fine tune that ability and know how it is that they're communicating with you. So let's talk a little bit about what could be blocking the messages coming in through spirit to you. And this is one of the ones that I think we get the most, because at least everybody we work with, everybody we've met that is like on some type of spiritual journey is like, I want the messages. I want to know what to do next. I want the guidance. So these are some big things that may be blocking. This is probably not all of them, but these are the biggest ones that we see. So one, you're stuck on how the messages should come through. So that's what we were talking about in the beginning. That was like the number one thing I did wrong. I wish that somebody had pulled me aside and said, feel into your body and get the messages there, because that's where I personally receive messages first. Through honing in on that gift, my other clairs came online. So it doesn't mean that you will never develop those other clair senses. It just means that you go to the one that is the strongest for you, and then they're going to utilize that, but then they're going to also start coming through other clair senses. So you don't want to get too stuck on, I need to hear, I need to hear, I need to see, I need to see. And then being too stuck in your head. We all get there. We have weeks where we are just like, go, go, go. We're nonstop. And we are just like, I'm not getting the clarity. I'm not getting the clarity. But have you really stopped to allow it to get in? Like, have you grounded? Have you gotten out in nature? Have you given yourself a chance to connect with your whole being instead of being really stuck up in the brain? Because the brain is not where this information comes in. The brain is the tool. It's a tool. It's an interpreter, and it's a transmitter. And then the need for immediate clarity. I know we all have those moments where we can be a little impatient. We can put something out to spirit, our spirit council, and say like, I need to know this now. I need to know this now. But as we were saying before, sometimes it is about timing. And we see this a lot in readings where spirit comes through or the person's spirit council comes through and they're like, it wouldn't help you right now to know this. And then a month or two later, sometimes a day or two later, either we will read that person again or they will get the information in another way. And that was the right timing. Because sometimes we, as humans, we tend to attach to things and we're like, yes, I'm going to get the job. And then they'll quit their other job. And it's like, no, wait, you were supposed to stay there a little bit longer. So they're going to give it to you in the right time. So focusing too much on, I want the answer now, isn't always the best way to go. It's going to come in when you're ready.
Another big one is when we are so stuck on a specific outcome that we've picked for ourselves. So we're in a dilemma or we're facing a life experience, whether good or bad, and we're like, okay, I really want this to happen, or I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, or I really hope that this person does this or that person does that, and I hope I end up here in Bali, right? And so that's when we're like, this is what we want, and so our brain starts to look for all of those signals of like, what's going to get me to Bali? What's going to get me to Bali? And we may be missing what is coming through from our counsel. And this is so important to pay attention to. If you feel like you're holding so tightly onto an outcome, you got to stop and surrender. It's like stop, drop, and roll, right? You got to stop, take a deep breath, surrender, and say, okay, I need to call on my peeps. Because your spirit council, remember, they're your roadmap. They also have your contracts with them. They can see, they have a higher perspective, and they know the best route for you to take. So when you call on them, it helps you have a far greater chance of getting somewhere that your mind could never even perceive to come up with. Because think about, like, if you look back in hindsight, whether a situation was rough or not, did you end up in a better situation? You're like, I'm so thankful that this didn't work out, and now I'm here, and this is way better than I could have ever expected it to be. Right? That's because you listen to your counsel, you listen to your soul, you listen to all of the people that are there leading you, or beings that are leading you, and got you to the best case scenario for you. Okay? Mm-hmm. Helps you stay true on your path. And then another one that we see a lot too is the feeling of, or being like constantly stimulated through our day. This is all of us, right? We're constantly go, 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 hustle mentality. Like we got to get it done, get it done, get it done. There's never really quiet time. There's never downtime. And a lot of times when we do find ourselves having quiet time, we're then trying to fill it with, what was I supposed to do today? Like, I know there was like 18 more things on my list, right? So And then we're constantly doing that. By the end of the day, we're exhausted. And then we try to like numb it out with some more earthly things like, I'm going to catch up on my reruns. I'm going to do Netflix. I'm going to do this, because we're just trying to like, get a break in. But in order for us to really connect with ourselves, connect with your counsel, and get the guidance that you need that's really going to help bring reprieve to you, is to take that time to be still and let yourself be open to receiving. And for a lot of people, that time looks like when you're driving in your car, when you're taking a shower. So a question I have for you is, think about where your downtime, your quiet time is. And if you have really far and few between, if you're listening to music in the shower or your kids are calling you in the car or whatever it is, then make sure you take some time out to like connect with them and see what information they have for you. All right. And then lastly, one of the big ones that we want to point out too is your shadows. So when we're looking at like your shadows, depending on what it is that you've experienced and the beliefs that you've created for yourself, can hinder or kind of like regress slightly your clair abilities, because it doesn't feel safe to you, right? So if you have a hard time like seeing things, or you like, I just like, if you're like, I can't watch that movie, like it's gonna like hit me too hard, like I can't watch horror movies, I just cannot. Or something to that nature. Or if you feel like you feel guilty for asking for help and receiving, that's something that can help also hinder us from receiving communication from our counsel. So, because you're not going to feel worthy of it. We have an example. We have a client of ours who, growing up, she kind of had a traumatic upbringing. She saw some things that weren't that great, and so she kind of really shut that down. So much so that she was like, when we tried to walk her through a guided meditation, and she's like, I can't do guided meditations. And we're like, why? And she's like, because I don't see anything. So we're like, well, surely you can do this. Like, all right, well, and then Lindsay's like, okay, picture a red apple. Do you see the red apple? Nope. And we're like, a red apple, you can't see it in your head? Nope, I know it's there.
I was going to say it's more common than you think. Yeah, a couple of you have that.
And we're like, wow, okay. So we started to dig and do some investigating with our shadow alchemy, and we went in and we started to not remove, but alchemize the areas where there were beliefs and protective mechanisms that were put in place, that she put in place along her life, that helped her from seeing things to being able to receive. And then within about 2 weeks, later down these 2 weeks, we did a meditation with her. And in that meditation, she jumped up and she was like, I just saw it. I just saw everything. It's there. And we're like,
she marked the date down. She's like, this day, whatever day it was, September 3rd of something. She was like, I saw with my third eye. And we were like, yay.
And they were like, this is great. She goes, I can see the red apple.
Yeah.
And so we're like, this is great.
And it just came online.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but that could be something that is hindering you, some like childhood trauma, things where we had to adapt or cope growing up. We can sometimes turn off some of our senses or make our body feels unsafe receiving. So we had another client who she just really wanted to connect with her spirit counsel day to day. And she was like, they always show up for me. I always feel like it's fine, like reaching out but it's only when I have a crisis. I reach out and I'm like, please, please, please help me. And they always come through, and they come through with messages, and it's so beautiful. But daily, I can't just wake up in the morning and remember to connect with them. Maybe I need Post-it notes. Maybe I need, and so at first we were like, well, okay, maybe you need a routine. But then upon like diving more into this with her, we realized that within her upbringing, her parents had little money growing up, and she learned that you only ask for something when it's really, really important. And she did not realize that was hindering her from feeling safe asking for very mundane things like, can you help me find my car keys?
From her support system.
From her support system, yeah. So that translated from her upbringing with her parents into her relationship with her spirit counsel. So we did do some shadow work with her, some shadow alchemy, and that was on a Friday. And by Monday, she was like, I spent the whole weekend talking to my spirit counsel. And so sometimes it is just these little things that need to lift that were created to keep us safe at a time where that was important for our safety, but it's no longer needed. And so those are the things that 9 times out of 10 we see blocking that spirit connection, but it is fixable, it is reversible, and you can get that clarity. So, yeah. So speaking of that story, asking for help. Your spirit council wants you to ask for help. They honor your free will, so you don't necessarily need to ask them, but if you want their help, you do have to ask them, because they're going to let you do your thing. They will step in here and there if you're really going off track, like you're going to do something that's going to upset your soul contract or someone else's, like something happens, goes haywire, you were almost in an accident that wouldn't have been helpful for your process. They will reroute you, but for the most part, they don't step in unless you ask. So it is a game changer when you start consciously asking for their help. They will show up. And we are living proof of that.
Yes.
We've had this happen time after time.
Actually, a few weeks ago, I was going through some health things, and I was like up in my head, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? And it's like my mind's going crazy again. The ego's like a million things it could be and a million solutions and all these things. And I was out walking one morning, and I was like, what am I doing? So I like called out to my spirit council, and I'm like, guys, I need help. And I'm like, I need answers to A, B, C, D, and E, or solutions, or whatever you can bring me. I just really kind of need to know what direction I should go in, because I just cannot figure this out. And I'm having anxiety, and my brain wants to keep telling me that I'm dying. So I just need some help. And I'm like, okay, thanks. All right, that was around like 9:30 in the morning. Later that day, I had a doctor's appointment. I actually was getting a test done. I was getting an ultrasound done. And so I'm in there, I'm laying down on the table, and the ultrasound tech's in there, and she's, got the little thing, and she's going, and she's like, have you ever thought about like doing some deep breathing, like through your nose, out your mouth? And I'm like, this is really odd. You don't normally get that in the doctor's office, but I'm like, yeah, I know how to do that. And she's like, you should try some, guided meditation, where they like talk to you. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I'm familiar with that. I was like, I actually make guided meditations with my partner for our community. And she's like, oh, perfect. Right? And I'm like, okay. And I'm facing away from her, right? So I'm laying this way. She starts popping off with like, okay, you should do this and this and this and this and this. And this is important for you to know, just so you know that you're not dying. And my eyes were like, oh my God, right? I'm like, okay. All right, I'm like, all right, guys, I know you're here now, right? And I was like, okay, so now my ears are like super tuned in. And she finished up with, you should try this, this, and this. Oh, and you need to go get a Reiki attunement. And I'm like, needless to say, left the doctor's appointment office.
She was taking notes leaving. She was like,
I got my phone. I'm like, or in the car, I'm like putting in my phone. I'm like, okay, do this, this, and this, and this, and this. And then I immediately booked a Reiki session.
Yeah.
So that is they will come through in ways like that, and even in more of like dire situations or situations that are scary, or high stress ones, I guess you could say. Years ago, I went through a separation and divorce, and it was a pretty trying time. Things got pretty intense, and at one point in time, I was in a conversation with my then husband, and things got escalated, and he walked over and he snatched my keys up, and he was like, I'm taking your car and I'm gonna sell it. And so I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm like freaking out. And then I just immediately called on my counsel. So I was like, counsel. I work a lot with Jesus or Yeshua. And so I was like, Jesus! Like, I'm like calling him, I'm like, I need help, right? You're like dialing in. And all of a sudden I heard clear as day, text your lawyer now. Okay, you're not supposed to text your lawyer. Anyone that's worked with a lawyer, you know that if you just to communicate with a lawyer, you're lucky if you get a call back in like 2, 3, 4 days, because usually they're in court all day. And so I picked up my phone and I just texted him. I was like, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I texted him and I was like, I told him what was happening. I was like, I need help now. Within 60 seconds, I'm not kidding you, this is going in my book. Within 60 seconds, his phone rang. He picked it up. He looked at me, he starts talking, he said his lawyer's name, and I was like, he walked outside, came back inside a few minutes later, threw my keys at me and was like, here, and walked out. My lawyer immediately answered, picked up my text, called his lawyer, told his lawyer he was being naughty, and his lawyer called him immediately and was like, yo, don't do that. And it ended that relation right there. So don't ever doubt whether your spirit council is going to come through for the big things, the small things, the middle things. Look, I call on them if I lost my keys and I have an appointment or something's going on, or I need traffic to clear because I'm late for a session, whatever it may be, and they will come through and help you through and through.
I always ask them, like,
Right?
he's really good. He's in Maryland, though. Yeah, he's good. I was going to say, I always, like when you have to pull out into traffic and you're looking both ways, I every single time call in my counsel. I'm like, guys, I need you to part the cars. and it always works. And then I'm able to pull out safely. So yeah, you can call on them for anything. Get practicing it, because the more you do it, the easier it becomes, the more you trust it, and the more that guidance is going to come through. Now, yeah.
I would do that. He's out of state, so unfortunately he doesn't practice in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But if he did, I'd hand it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd probably appreciate it. All right, so we're going to shift into a guided meditation. So this is just going to be a quick little meditation, but this is going to help you open up to all your intuitive centers so that you can experience spirit, your spirit council, and then even possibly maybe get a message from them in the way that's best for you. So we're not going to attach to the how this is going to come through. We're just going to be open to receiving. And even if you feel like nothing came through, we want you to still just be present for it. And if you need help at the end deciphering it, we will help you do that, okay? They will come through, rest assured, in some way, shape, or form. All right. So let's begin with just arriving here in this room. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to try to receive anything. You just allow yourself to be here. Gently close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, if you can, and then exhale out through your mouth. Good. Excellent. Again, deep breath in, fill up those bellies, and then let it out through your mouth. Good. Let's just bring our awareness back to ourselves and our bodies. We are around a lot of people today, a lot of energies, and maybe have even made some connections here today at this event. And so we want to just call back our energy to us now. Imagine that anything that's not yours, any energy that you've picked up along the way, connected to or been carrying, is just being released from your field, just falling away. And this is just happening gently and without effort. And now see your energy returning back to you and gently nestling right back into your heart center. Take another deep breath here and let yourself really feel that. Maybe you want to put your hand on your heart, whatever feels good. You are centered, you are grounded, you are safe to open up. Now we're going to gently open our intuitive centers so you can become more receptive to guidance. So bring your awareness to the top of your head. Just imagine a soft opening there, like a gentle expansion upward. Now your forehead, softening the space behind your eyes, releasing any tension. Let your face soften, allowing clarity to move in. Your throat, softening, opening, allowing expression and truth to come through. Your heart expanding outward, warm, steady, open. And your body as a whole, feeling both open and grounded at the same time. Take a breath here. You don't need to force anything open that isn't ready. Just allow it to be. And now we're going to go somewhere special. Imagine yourself however it feels best to you. So if you don't visualize it, just feel it, okay? And just know it. You're in your favorite place in nature, somewhere that feels peaceful, safe, and familiar. Take a moment to notice where you are. What's around you? What kind of colors are around you? Notice the light, the space around you. Do you hear anything? Wind, water, birds, maybe even silence? And what do you feel? The ground beneath you? The temperature of the air on your skin? The light shining on your face? What do you smell? Let yourself fully drop into this place. And as you're standing here, you begin to notice something in the distance. A staircase leading upward into the clouds. There's no hesitation. You just know this is where I'm meant to go. So you begin walking toward it, step by step, feeling anticipation building, and you begin to ascend the stairs. And as you do, you feel yourself getting lighter, more open, more connected. You start moving faster and faster, almost like the staircase is carrying you. Maybe it even turns into an escalator or an elevator, just effortlessly bringing you up. And as you ascend, there's this feeling like you're about to reconnect with something deeply familiar, like you're seeing family you haven't seen in a long time, and you can't wait to be there. And as you reach the top, you step off, and you move forward. And then there they are, your spirit council.
You may see them or sense them or simply just feel a presence. There's no right way for this to come through. Just allow yourself to notice what you're experiencing. Maybe they're seated around a table with a space for you, or maybe they're surrounding you, welcoming you in with warm, familiar energy. Either way, you are with them now. So we want you to take a breath in here, and now gently ask them, show me what it feels like to be in your presence. Take a few moments to just notice what comes to you. This may come through a sensation in your body, a warmth feeling, a shift in emotion. It could be visual, a sound, or just a knowing. And if nothing comes right away, just breathe, detach from the expectation, and just allow yourself to be. Now, when you feel that connection, even subtle, just acknowledge it. And now we're going to ask for a message. Gently ask, what do you want me to know right now? Again, this may come through in many ways. It could be a word, a memory, a feeling, an image, sensation, or just clarity. Now, whatever came through, trust that. Even if it felt small, even if it didn't make full sense yet. And let's take a moment to thank them for their connection and guidance, for being with you every day, whether you notice them or not, and for guiding you through this experience. And as you begin to turn away, you start making your way back toward the staircase, slowly descending step by step, following yourself returning back into your body. And now you are bringing with you the feeling, the connection, and the awareness, and most importantly, the knowing of what it feels like when they are connecting with you. Let that anchor in. And as you reach the bottom, you come back into your physical body, back into your breath, your senses, and the room around you. So gently wiggle your fingers and toes, take in a deep breath, exhale, and when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. All right, how was that? Yeah? Good. All right, does anyone want to share anything real quick? Or, yes, buddy?
We say thank you. Oh, you're welcome.
Oh, you're welcome, buddy.
You look relaxed. You really relaxed. Awesome.
That's awesome. Yes, you're
So it was a good
welcome.
a good experience? Okay. So the hot and then the cold. So yeah, sometimes temperature changes, and that would be one way that you could know that they're in your presence.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel the same thing, like temperature change?
That's
Oh, that's
awesome.
beautiful.
Yes, girl.
Awesome.
Take that with you.
Yeah. Did anybody else experience anything outside of like physical sensation?
The part where you're supposed to ask how am I supposed to feel when you're around.
Yeah.
I get like a pressure headache, like right around.
Oh, really? Okay. Now, if it hurts and you feel like, okay, they're trying to show you like I'm here, this is where you're gonna feel me, but it kind of hurts, you can actually like massage your head. Sometimes there's energy stuck there. So they're like, we're coming in here, but you're a little too mental. So you can actually like, massage your head and like pull and open up your crown chakra physically. And that'll help get rid of some of that mental energy. And then it might come through a little bit easier, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Keep my
that.
energy, but stay bright. Just take it with
Yeah.
you, and that's beautiful.
awesome.
How about you guys over here? Anybody have any experiences? Colors? Okay. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Have you had that happen before? Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. But then that gives you direction, like, okay, this is how I know I'm connected when I'm seeing the colors or and then so getting yourself into that state again to practice that, it'll be easier to pop into that more.
Yeah,
and
the more and more that you practice this, the easier this will get. And we tried to make the meditation, simple enough that you'll remember it when you go home and you can still kind of apply that same process yourself. All right?
Yeah. Does anybody have
So,
question? Or were you going to say something?
no, I was just going to... We're cutting on time. This is why we had no cards, so we wouldn't run over. All right. So, did you want to add something?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much to everyone for joining us here today. We are so glad that you came. Make sure that you take your hand out. We put all of those little tips on there for you. And it also has our information on there if you want to check us out. Definitely check out our mystery school where we walk with our students to help hone their clairabilities and to help them open up and receive messages more. And also, you could always check out if you're feeling drawn to want to know really who's on your spirit council, so that you can work with them individually, or what deeper messages and guidance they have for you. You can come to us and.
We have a 20% off code on there, so that's good for the next 2 weeks, or 1 week, I'm sorry, 7 days.
Next
sorry.
7
That's
days.
good until next Saturday at midnight, okay? 20% off a session. We're located in Downingtown, but we do everything virtually, so everything is over Zoom. So we will travel to your home via the internet.